So two senior Trump officials from his first term have come out and explained what he did during disaster relief when he was president. If you remember, Trump recently said that Joe Biden is withholding money from disaster areas that are Republican leaning. He just made that up. That's not at all true. And the governor of Georgia said it's not true. He called me and offered every assistance that we needed. So why did Trump make that up? Because it turns out, as these two Trump aides say, that's what he used to do. To which I say, of course. So, but they have amazing details. So Mark Harvey said, who was Trump's senior director for resilience policy on the National Security Council staff, said on Wednesday that Trump initially refused to approve disaster aid for California after deadly wildfires in 2018 because of the state's Democratic leanings. So Harvey had to go pull up a map and show him how many people voted for him in those areas before he would release the funding, because he's a monster. He doesn't care about anyone that isn't part of his group. So if your family was wiped out by a fire, he doesn't care at all. That's why he projects onto Biden all the evil things that he thinks. So they showed him that there's actually more Trump voters in Orange County than there is in Iowa. And he's like, oh, okay, then give him the money. We went as, Mark Harvey explains, we went as far as looking up how many votes he got in those impacted areas to show him these are people who voted for you. Because if you didn't vote for him, he doesn't view you as a real American citizen and he's not gonna help you. Harvey went on to explain there's no empathy for survivors. It's all about getting your photo op, right? Disaster theater to make him look good. But he's not alone. Olivia Troy, another senior leader in the Trump administration, she was in the lead role of federal disaster response, so right at the top there, says that this type of things would happen all the time. And she'd have to go and say, please, Mr. President, they're American citizens, you have to help them. And then she would go to the vice president and beg Mike Pence to go make the case. It appears the president doesn't care about the citizens at all. Please, Mr. Vice President, can you help? So this is confirmed, ironically, by a story that not only she tells, but Ron DeSantis told in his book. He was trying to give Trump credit, but listen to this. Ron DeSantis said, hey, look, we want, after a hurricane hit Florida, normally the federal government gives 75% of the disaster relief, right? And DeSantis said, we want 100%. Because Florida voted for you. So he explains that Donald Trump said, they love me in the panhandle. I must have won 90% of the vote out there. Huge crowds. What do they need? So ready to help them right away. And on March 9th, 2019, Trump signed an order directing FEMA to pay 100% of most disaster costs in Florida. As a result, FEMA paid roughly $350 million more than it would have without Trump's intervention, according to an E&E News analysis. So if he wins again, God help you if you live in a blue state or an area he thinks is too blue, because he's not your president and he won't help you unless you find a way to bribe him or appease him, because that's the kind of monster he is. And by the way, that's exactly why we play Trump brackets. So this is a game that our own viewers invented, TrumpBrackets.com. We're finally in the Sweet 16. And so this is to remind you of all the terrible things. By the way, him denying disaster relief to blue areas didn't even make the top 64, didn't make the brackets, because he does so many outrageous, awful things. So now that we're in the Sweet 16, it gets a little tougher. So today we got a 1 seed versus a 9 seed. We're trying to determine what is the very worst thing Donald Trump has ever done or said. Well, the 1 seed is called for the termination of all rules, regulations, and articles in the Constitution. And the 9 seed is kept Hitler's speeches by his bed. Okay, so go vote at TrumpBrackets.com. And then we got another one for you guys. And this is a 4 seed versus a 5 seed, so very close. Bragged about grabbing women by the you-know-what versus moving the US Embassy in Israel because a donor asked him to. And in case you've forgotten, here's the famous Hollywood Access tape.
Moved on her, and I failed. I'll admit it.
Whoa.
I did try and She was married.
It's huge news there.
No, Nancy.
Yeah.
No, this was marriages, and I moved on her very heavily. In fact, I took her out furniture shopping. She wanted to get some furniture. I said, "I'll show you where they have some nice furniture." I took her out furniture. I moved on her like a bitch, but I couldn't get there, and she was married. And all of a sudden, I see her. She's now got the big phone and everything. She's totally changed her look. I better use some Tic Tacs just in case I start kissing her. You know, I'm automatically attracted to beautiful. I just start kissing them. It's like a magnet. You just kiss. I don't even wait. And when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything.
Whatever you want.
Grab them by the... I can do anything.
That was supposed to end him, but it didn't. And a lot of people thought, oh, that's really funny. Then when E. Jean Carroll said that's exactly what he did to me, MAGA was like, no way. Even though you just heard him say that that's exactly what he does all the time. Okay, Anna, so far, thoughts?
I just want the election to be over. That's my thoughts. Let's keep going.
Okay, next bracket here. We've got equating neo-Nazis with counter-protesters at a rally versus praised authoritarian leaders and fell in love with a communist dictator. We've got examples. By the way, there's several examples here, but we've got one of the examples from each category here. Watch.
You see what's happening on the front having to do with Palestine and Israel and protests and hate. We're having protests all over. He was talking about Charlottesville. Charlottesville was a little peanut, and it was nothing compared, and the hate wasn't the kind of hate that you have here.
I was really being tough, and so was he. And we would go back and forth, and then we fell in love, okay? No, really. He wrote me beautiful letters, and they're great letters. We fell in love.
President Xi is a brilliant man. If you went all over Hollywood to look for somebody to play the role of President Xi, you couldn't find it. There's nobody like that. The look, the brain, the whole thing. How smart is Kim Jong-un? Top of the line. Putin, very smart.
Viktor Orban, did anyone ever hear of him? He's probably like one of the strongest leaders anywhere in the world.
This election is tied within the margin of error in almost every swing state against this guy. By the way, if you say, well, that's a damning indictment of the Democrats, you're right. Okay, so, but this guy might be president and terrorize us for another 4 years. Spread TrumpBrackets.com as far as you can, just to remind people. And if they go, hey, you know what, I like it. I like that he's buddies with communist dictators and fell in love with them. And I like that he says that people who protest him are worse than the neo-Nazis in Charlottesville who killed someone. Okay, well then they're going to view this as an ad for Trump. But I think most decent human beings are going to go, whoa. Remember, the undecided voters barely know any of this. That's why they're undecided. TrumpBrackets.com, last one. Refuse to call them supporters from the attack on the Capitol and Congress and the VP versus glorified violent insurrectionists as heroes. So you've got those choices. Go vote at TrumpBrackets.com and make sure you share afterwards. Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.